Sahih Bukhari 10. Book 2, Hadith 3. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr. The Prophet said, "A Muslim is the one who avoids harming Muslims with his tongue and hands. And a muhajir, emigrant, is the one who gives up, abandons, all what Allah has forbidden." It shows and make a person think that we should be really careful with our words and our actions. If you see closely and think that the tongue is mentioned before hands, that means that our tongue is far more greater threat than a person hurting someone physically. The words said can't be taken back, and a person might feel regret for rest of their lives for what they might have said and how they would have hurt others with just few simple words. This also shows, as we are all human, we all have experienced that we might have said something hurtful to others without thinking. That's why we should always think and then speak, not always, be mindful, but be very careful with words, as it is better to be quiet sometimes rather than to speak against someone. If anyone is harmed by the hands of other, it will heal over time, and sometimes it doesn't leave a mark and person might forget it, but when we use some harsh words with people, unless they are very forgiving, they will not forget what was said, and we have seen that most of the old people remember a good/bad memory of a person speaking to them, and they don't heal it over time, but they keep it in their memories. About muhajir, it is said in the hadith that it is not only a person who leaves their country/home for Allah Almighty, but also if there is habit in you and it is quite bad and onata you realize for whatever reason it is not a good habit, and then you leave it for the sake of Allah Almighty, then you are given same stance as a person who has left their home/country for the sake of Allah Almighty. Sahih Bukhari 11. Book 2, Hadith 4. Some people asked Allah's Messenger, whose Islam is the best? i.e., who is a very good Muslim? He replied, one who avoids harming the Muslims with his tongue and hands. As mentioned, that best Muslim will always be mindful of their tongues and hands, will not harm other people. We might not know that we are hurting someone without tongue and hands, but we should be trying to avoid these situations where we have to reply to someone in a bad way, either in speech or in action. A physically hurt person will heal over time, but a person getting abused by words of others will always keep it in mind and will not heal over time unless that person is forgiving and leave the affairs to Allah Almighty. Fi aman Allah.